Hello, my friends, and welcome to another episode of Ghost Stories in Folklore. Tonight, my friends, I'm going to tell you the story of one of Sean and Mary Ann's favorite places, and that is Hill View Manor in Newcastle, Pennsylvania. Hill View Manor has been investigated thousands of times by many different paranormal investigators. There are countless numbers of stories associated with the building due to the fact that this location was a former poorhouse and nursing home. There were literally thousands of deaths reported at this location, and it even has its own paupers and veterans cemetery in the back of the property. Due to time constraints, my friends, we will be focusing on just a few of these stories. First, let's talk about little Jeffrey. Jeffrey was a 9-year-old boy who is believed to have lived there during the poorhouse times. When the building was a nursing home, it was reported that if you saw little Jeffrey, within a few days you would die. Of course, through various paranormal investigations, they found Jeffrey was just a little 9-year-old boy who likes to play with toys, and perhaps he is just looking for his mother or brother. Many have seen and communicated with him and did not die. We have not found any evidence to support the nursing home claims. However, Sean and Mary Ann have communicated with him on several occasions. The room that is most often associated with little Jeffrey today is room 208 on the second floor. The next entity I like to talk about is that of Jimmy Snaps. Jimmy Marker and Jules Hato used to be roommates. They would go throughout the building while Jimmy would be taking photographs of people for a cigarette or $1, although they never had any film in the camera. They would use the money that they would collect when they snuck out to the store to purchase cigarettes. Investigators can sometimes get responses from Jimmy throughout the building when they ask him to pose or take a picture. One of Sean and Mary Ann's team members captured an interesting photo once, and the image looked like the photograph of Jimmy that you can find on the 3rd floor. Next, let's talk about Mary Virginia. Mary Virginia was a sweet woman who was a resident at the location when it was a nursing home. She had the mentality of a small child, perhaps due to dementia, and to this day she loves receiving gifts of faux jewelry and stuffed animals. She also loves to sing along with nursery rhymes with investigators. Sean and Mary Ann have captured her responses with flashlights on the video to the singing of 3 blind mice and Itsy Bitsy Spider. When investigators enter her room, they need to treat her with kindness and respect that you would for your own great-grandmother or small child, and you seem to get tremendous responses. Many investigators believe she passed away here, but she did not. Records indicate that she moved before she passed away. She just seems to like it here at Hill View Manor, and may have returned to her former room, a place where she felt comfortable and loved. Next, we need to talk about George. George resides in the new furnace boiler area of the basement. He is a very adamant Pittsburgh Steelers fan. On one of Mary Ann and Sean's investigations, they had someone within the group who would make comments about non-Steeler teams. George does not like this, and they received fluctuations on EMF and K2 meters when questioning and comments were about how poorly Pittsburgh was playing. To clarify, they never provoked spirits. This was more of a ribbing, debating type conversation, which seems to wake George up. It makes him come to communicate with them. Previous investigators have had the door to this room closed while investigating in the hallway, as if George did not want to be bothered with them at all. Next, we need to talk about Eli Sorey. There are reports of black masses in the hallway down by the old boiler room, where a man died after being dropped off there to sleep off a drinking binge. He just didn't make it, quite possibly due to alcohol poisoning or perhaps fumes from the boiler itself. There are also reports of seeing shadow people walk back and forth in the main hallway right outside the doorway to the old boiler room, as viewed from inside this hallway to the old boiler room while trying to communicate with Eli. Sean and Marianne have personally witnessed this occurrence twice and even tried to capture it on video. However, due to lighting issues, they were not be able to get the recording. Another interesting area within the building is 1 North. 1 North was an addition to the building in 1976. It was built over old farming area. Occasionally, chickens and cows can be heard in this wing. Some investigators have also reported a phenomena where they are stationed at the end of the hall and they can see shadows looking out of the rooms at them late into the night. Although Sean and Marianne have not experienced the sounds of the farm animals, this is the area where they have received intelligent flashlight responses relating to Jimmy Snaps on 3 different investigations. Some of the other reports, my friends, include in the basement hallway, a female patient fell down the stairs and died after becoming disoriented. The basement is also full of personal effects like suitcases, pictures, and letters. These are left over from the many people who passed away while they were residents. People claim to hear an old man saying, "Get out," or "Leave" when they go down in this area. The stories continue with claims of a cafeteria worker who gets mad when people don't form a line in the dining hall. Apparently, at one occasion, the lights went off and the doors all flew open. A minute later, the lights came back on and the doors closed by themselves again. Mary Ayala is a resident on the 2nd floor who repeatedly goes across the hallway back and forth to wash her hands. She was reportedly blind and had OCD, so her room was directly across the hall from the bathroom sink area. Investigators have reported seeing the shadow figure of a woman crossing the hall back and forth during an investigation. What is it about this location that not only has the former residents returning on a regular basis, but also investigators who consider it to be a second home and look forward to the days of returning to communicate with the building residents? Is it the love and compassion that bonds these kindred spirits together, or is there something else going on at Hill View Manor that none of us can explain at this time, my friends? You be the judge for yourself. Consider attending one of their public events or booking the building for yourself. this episode of Ghost Stories and Folklore, be sure to hit the like button. And if you would like more videos from Panady videos in the future, make sure you hit the subscribe and the bell for notifications. If you dare.